At the break of dawn, in the middle of the Arizona desert, a crowd of strangers meet for one purpose.
You guys coming out here to help me out, I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart.
To help another stranger, a father desperately searching for his 24-year-old son, Daniel Robinson.
Since he was a child, he liked to challenge everything.
He was born with a challenge.
And I wanted to introduce him to prosthetics because he's born with one hand. We quickly learned that that's something that Daniel didn't want. He let nothing stop him. He decided to be a geologist once he got into freshman year in college. He excelled that. He graduated with honors.
Daniel's first job is checking the viability of water wells in the Arizona desert.
He loved this area, of course, because of the rock formation. You're a geologist, this is the best place to be.
But the terrain became a hellscape for his dad when Daniel went missing back in June from his job site. And what number search is this?
This is search number 14.
Navigating the dangers in the desert, the Army veteran knows firsthand time is of the essence.
When I called the Buckeye Police Department, they told me that I had to wait an extra 3 hours because they had a 12-hour, report time when you can say a person is missing. Then I called them back and put in a missing person report. I got very worried. That's when I got very worried. I asked the Buckeye Police Department to go out and search that area. The officer told me that they were going to send a vehicle out there, a helicopter out to search for him. I was relieved. And then he called back an hour later and said, no, it was a no-go. I'm his dad, and he's my son. I've lost all sense of reality. At that moment, I said, you know what? They're not going to look for my son. I'm going to have to do it myself.
Before he arrived, police did decide to search on foot and with helicopters. This is the last place your son was seen?
The last place.
What do you think happened, David?
I think a lot happened here. I'm very suspicious.
But he doesn't know what. A month in, there's a break in the case, and police call Robinson.
I got afraid, actually, that it's going to be some bad news. He said, no, we just found his vehicle.
Some ranchers found it, and then at that point, we conducted our investigation and additional searches.
What was the condition of the car? If it had rolled over, it sounds like it was pretty bad.
Yeah, the car was on its side. The sunroof was kicked out at that point, so he might have exited through the sunroof.
His wrecked car in a ravine, both airbags deployed, Daniel's cell phone, clothes he was wearing that day, and a case of water all found at the crash site. But not Daniel. People don't just disappear into thin air.
True.
Does that sort of feel like what's happened to here?
Yes. Yeah, it's very, very challenging case.
No matter how much the family asks for this to be a criminal investigation, can you make that happen?
We can't make up evidence. Absolutely suspicious circumstances related to the case.
Frustrated and heartbroken, Robinson hired a private investigator. Where are we going?
Down here is where the vehicle was recovered from.
Is that the glass from the car?
Yes.
When you looked at this accident, what are the discrepancies that you noticed right away?
I believe it was in more than one collision.
What does the data from the black box of the car tell you?
That there was 11 additional miles on the vehicle since the airbags came out.
What does that tell you?
That tells me it was crashed somewhere else.
Does that sound suspicious? What explains that?
Well, we had the national expert that came in and provided us his findings, and then they ended up speaking to an expert at Jeep, and the expert says, yes, sometimes that happens, and it's not unusual.
But the data also shows someone tried to start the car 46 times after the crash.
That's something we can't explain.
It begs the question, again, the family is saying it's criminal. It's got to be he's in danger. Do something.
Right. No, I agree. But we need information. We need evidence.
He's got a lot of theories. His words, I think, were, I don't think they cared. What do you say to that?
Can be furthest from the truth.
Losing hope, Robinson began pleading for media coverage.
It literally took 3 months.
While Robinson searched for his son, the country became riveted by media coverage of another missing persons case, the case of Gabby Petito.
In my situation, people think I love our children less or something, or they're less important.
In 2020, more than 543,000 missing persons records were filed. More than 480,000 were cleared. And 40% of the missing are people of color.
There are a lot of Gabby Petitos and Natalie Holloways in the Black and brown community.
That's why former police officer Derica Wilson co-founded Black and Missing Inc. and says too often their cases go untold. Eventually, local stations did stories and citizens began helping search. Did you know Daniel?
No, I just wanted to help.
You're just helping out a stranger on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Why?
You know what? I can't imagine what that man's going through.
As the search for Daniel goes into its 5th month, another family is in the midst of a terrible mystery for a 5th year. The family of Nikki and Ariana Fitz.
Ariana is very energetic, very happy.
2-year-old Ariana went missing under the most suspicious of circumstances in the San Francisco Bay Area in 2016. Her mother, Nikki Fitz, was found in a shallow grave in San Francisco's McLaren Park, but Ariana was gone.
It breaks my heart that Ariana's not with her mom and Ariana's not with her family, but it also breaks my heart even more is that I know that Nikki wants nothing more than Ariana to be with us, to be home.
Tessa Fitz says she is convinced her niece Ariana was taken by people close to Ariana's mother. San Francisco police searched for weeks. They had some leads, but no arrests. A digitally altered photo was made of what she may look like now.
And she's 8 now. I don't want to see this in a picture. I want to see her face in person.
Should Ariana Fitz be a household name like JonBenet Ramsey?
Absolutely. Why is her case any different from Kaylee Anthony? I can tell you, the color of their skin is the only difference.
For 5 desperate years, the family has continued searching using flyers, social media, and Black and Missing Inc. Do you think it has anything to do with color?
I try not to put myself in the mindset of the race issue with her media coverage. All I want is for there to be the media coverage for her. I think she deserves that.
The Fitz and the Robinsons want only one thing, with hugging their missing children once again.
Do you think that Ariana is still alive?
I do believe that Ariana is still alive, and it would mean everything to me to know where she is and to find her. I wait for that day every single day. I believe that day will come.
How long will you search?
Till I find my son. I have to. I mean, he's my responsibility.
Sarah Seidner, CNN, Buckeye, Arizona.
Dawn in the desert, a clear and chilly November morning. We are near the city of Buckeye, Arizona, where a caravan of cars is arriving, carrying volunteers. For the next several hours, they will comb this unforgiving landscape, looking for a young man who's been missing since June of 2021. His name, Daniel Robinson. And leading the search, not law enforcement, but Daniel's father, David.
Where is everybody located?
For 9 painful months, Robinson and his team of volunteers, people he now calls family,
This is my family.
have been desperately trying to find any trace of his son.
He's a very bright, intelligent geologist. Anything that Daniel wanted to do, he would do it. He's born without a right hand, but he found ways to master anything that he wanted to do. You know, he's a geologist. Of course, Arizona is the ideal place.
In June 2021, Daniel had just begun a job doing field work at a desert well site. He'd always kept in close touch with his family back home in South Carolina. But around this time, Daniel suddenly stopped calling.
I tried to call his phone constantly. He wasn't answering.
In fact, the whole family tried calling Daniel. Nothing. His sister in Arizona checked his apartment. No one there.
I was worried. I didn't want to panic because I didn't want my children to panic, so that's when I decided to call the Buckeye Police Department.
The Buckeye PD is a small one with barely more than 100 officers. Nevertheless, they began investigating by first checking the area where Daniel was reportedly working. Nothing turned up. 2 days later, David Robinson, desperate for answers, felt he had to take matters into his own hands.
I just grabbed everything I had, threw it in my vehicle, and just started driving. And I made it here. I came straight through, left South Carolina, came straight to Arizona.
Some 45 hours later, David arrived in this daunting desert, exhausted, but in a panic. His son was out here somewhere, all alone, facing 3-digit heat, rattlesnakes, and not a soul or building in sight. So on his own, David started searching and soon made his way to the well site where his son was last seen.
This is where it all began. This is where the whole narrative started. My son drove off into the desert and vanished, maybe from here.
David then met with a witness, a co-worker of his son's, who said he saw Daniel at the well the day he disappeared.
He did tell me that my son seemed like he was looking out into space somewhere, looking out into the desert terrain, kind of staring off, and was acting really quiet. And then he told me my son just kind of waved off to him, got in this vehicle, and drove off.
Where he went and what exactly happened next, no one seems to know. Soon after that meeting, David began recruiting volunteers to help him search the sprawling Sonoran Desert. Every Saturday for the next few weeks, they scoured this barren, treacherous landscape. They have not found Daniel. Then, in July 2021, a break, a big one. A local rancher found Daniel's Jeep rolled over in a remote ravine.
When I first saw that crash site, I was really devastated. It's a place I had to go to and see for myself.
The airbags had deployed. The sunroof looked as if it had been kicked open, perhaps used as an escape route. And this was odd. Outside the Jeep were what appeared to be Daniel's clothes and work boots, his wallet still in his blue jeans. Inside the vehicle was his college ID, laptop, keys, cell phone, and plenty of bottled water. To help make sense of this mystery, David hired private investigator Jeff McGrath, an expert at reconstructing accidents. He has a theory of what might have happened.
There was nothing along this route that the vehicle took into that bottom ravine that matched the damage. It's telling me the vehicle was probably crashed somewhere else. Either moved here or it was continued to be driven, and this was its final stop. And whether somebody stole it in joyriding, whether Daniel was in it, but it tells me something happened somewhere else.
The Jeep has since been moved to a secured location for further analysis, but plenty of evidence still remains of the crash.
I don't believe it was enough to kill, no. The airbags had enough force to do some damage. They strike you in the face, and they come out with a lot of force, and it could cause a concussion, but there wasn't enough violence here in this crash to cause a lethal.
That suggests Daniel survived and was perhaps disoriented and maybe wandered aimlessly into the desert. Could this be other than accidental? Could foul play be involved in Daniel's disappearance? It's something McGrath and David have not ruled out. It's something police have examined too. To this point, there is no evidence of that. None at all. Whatever happened back in June of 2021 has David Robinson now bracing for the worst.
It's hard to say you're searching for your son, walking around the desert with no clothing, no shoes. So I had to mentally put it in my head that I'm doing a recovery. So I need to go find every spot I can out here to rescue my son. He may be hurt, injured, somewhere stuck, whatever. I need to find my son. Yeah, I found something up here interesting.
David is hoping to get more attention, help, and resources from the Buckeye PD, which says this is still an ongoing investigation, although so far not a criminal one.
Okay, so we're still working this side.
He's also tried to enlist federal help. In the fall of 2021, the Buckeye PD briefed the FBI and asked for their assistance. The Bureau recently told us they're still assessing the case. So far, they have not gotten involved. So for now, David Robinson and his team of volunteers continue to search.
I really have faith that somehow God can bless that he's alive somewhere, and I hope so. I am not stopping. He's my son. He's my responsibility. He's a fighter. He never give up on anything. I definitely won't give up on him. Hello everyone, I'm David Robinson, the father of Geologist Daniel Robinson, who went missing June 23rd out of Buckeye, Arizona. I came here to Arizona to find my son. Since that time, I have organized searches every Saturday. We're having another search this weekend, and we're asking everybody, anyone who can come out and help. I very much appreciate it if you can. Bring your 4x4s, bring your all-terrain vehicles. If you have horses, you can even come search on foot. We need everybody. So if you're out there, you have any skills, if you want to help in any kind of way, please come out. I'm depending on you. I'm searching for my son, and I need your help. Thank you. God bless you.
Where is Daniel Robinson?
Saturday night, that question on the hearts and minds of Daniel Robinson's family and friends gathered at the state capitol asking for more to be done since the now 25-year-old geologist vanished in the Buckeye Desert.
My son is just not my son. He's also America's son, because this happened to a lot of families.
Since then, his father, David, organizing search parties hoping to find his son. Volunteers showing up week after week, standing strong with the Robinson family.
Daniel could be any one of us, and so we definitely need to bring awareness to the situation. If we don't speak up for him, and help find him, who will?
Daniel and my son went to the same high school. Felt it was my duty as his neighbor to be here to support him and really try to figure out where Daniel is and bring him home safe.
David's search parties found Daniel's Jeep Renegade rolled over in a ravine, airbags deployed, his clothing found inside out, boots and socks, wallet and laptop, no blood, no signs of injury, no signs of Daniel.
God knows how much we can bear, and at times I feel like I can't really take but so much more.
But in his weakest times, David says it's the volunteers that provide him strength.
Everybody know that I call them my extended family. And so this video is the same thing. We all here have one common goal, and that's to find Daniel and also to bring light what happened to other families.
As the Robinsons' extended family light candles tonight, their collective light shines towards that day when their question is answered and Daniel comes home. Josh Sanders, 12 News.
Yeah, I'm David Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. We're out here to do a candlelight visual on behalf of my son, and also to bring light into other families who are going through similar situations. So thank you. I'm thanking everybody who's out here to support. We need to stand in solidarity to bring attention to this case and to make a statement.
Oh, I'll be your shelter, I'll be your armor. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you.
My name is Daniel Robinson. I attend AC Flora, and I'm planning to major in geology at the College of Charleston.
Good job.
Daniel Robinson went missing 4 months ago. This is the last photo his family has of him. He's a 24-year-old geologist, last seen leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona.
As the Gabby Petito homicide case garners national attention, another young person has been missing for nearly 3 months, and his family is desperate to find him. 24-year-old Daniel Robinson, a geologist, was last seen on the morning of June 23rd, leaving his work site in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son. And I'm still searching for him. Thank you all for joining in this evening's Q&A, the prime time area of it. Thank you. My name is David Robinson. I'm the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. My son went missing out here in the city of Buckeye, Arizona on June the 23rd of last year. I've been out here since June 26th searching for my son. Glad you all come along to follow up this Q&A from this morning. The Q&A this morning, I was ushering in this fast and prayer. We had a fast and prayer for those who wasn't aware of it. We had a fast and prayer this morning to ask God for directions and also to bring some revelations to things that's been going on in my son's case. Bring things to light. Bring everything to light, and also, like I said, give me the direction and also to find out what happened to my son. Get some closures, bring him back home to his family, and also this prayer and fastings for those other families who are out there have missing loved ones, needing the same thing, And so we had a fasting prayer today, and I'm grateful you guys had joined in with me on the fasting prayer. Me and my team, we're really grateful that you all supported and came out to do that. Also, like I said, my son, for those who are new to this channel, I am David Robinson again, and my son, geologist Daniel Robinson, went missing on June 23rd. He was at his work site when he went missing. He was on the job. He came here out of college at Charleston. He graduated and came out here to Arizona to pursue his career. He started with a company called Matrix Southwest Groundwater, also called Matrix New World, as a field geologist, also called a hydrogeologist. What he does is go to well sites here in Arizona to check the viability of the wells, to make sure there's enough drinking water, the well sustain enough drinking water for at least 100 years. This is one of the requirements here in most communities here in Arizona, that those wells have to be put in and also be able to produce those types of that amount of water for this community. Also, he checked the rock settlements that come out of those wells, and that's his job as a geologist, to know what those things are, do his measurements and stuff like that. So again, he was on his job on June 23rd. He met with a worker from a company and out there in the desert, and he went out there to meet this worker, and they met on Sun Valley Parkway. My son followed that worker into the well site, and from there, the story, of course, when they met on the road, the story of how my son went missing came from that worker of Weber, is the name of the company. And that worker said my son followed him into the well site. They stayed there for briefly 10 minutes. The conversation was entailed some talk about the weather. My son was describing that he was a little tired, wanted to go back to Phoenix, wanted to go ahead and close the site. He decided not to do so because he felt like that little rain, it was not enough rain going to be coming, that the sale was going to pass by quickly. And during the conversation, my son waved off to him what I was told, waved off to this worker, got in his vehicle, and just drove off where he was never, ever seen again. Again, in the meantime, my daughter, later on that day, got a visit by one of Daniel's co-workers who came by to look for Daniel. My daughter alerted me back in South Carolina. I told her to go check his home to make sure he's not there. Check some friends if we have those here. And I was doing some phone calls. We all were doing phone calls to make sure we get in contact with Daniel. Was unsuccessful with that. Over a period of time, I decided to do a welfare check, even though his vehicle wasn't there, to make sure nothing happened in his apartment. I was unable to get that to happen because Tempe Police Department, he's a resident of Tempe at the time, and they decided they would not be able to do so, being that my son was last seen in the jurisdiction of Buckeye. And, it was near those White Tank Mountains at the time. I didn't know what that was, but it was in the Buckeye jurisdiction. So, of course, I reached out to Buckeye again to get them to see if they can go do that for me. They was unable to do that, but he is also able to do a drive of Sun Valley Parkway. That's the first time I heard the road, Sun Valley Parkway. Go up and down Sun Valley Parkway to see if his vehicle's on the side of the road, he's stranded or something like that. I was really relieved until I started talking more to the co-workers who I found out that my son actually went missing out there in that desert. And I wanted them to immediately go search for my son out there in that desert. But it was at nighttime, I was told by the officers, and they would not be able to put a helicopter out at night, but they would do it in that morning. So, of course, the next morning came. I stayed up all night waiting on it. Got excited about them putting a helicopter out there to find my son. They called back an hour later and told me that the flight was canceled. It was unauthorized because his higher up said that, Daniel's a grown man. If he want to disappear, he can. Just hearing that was enough for me to realize the department didn't have any interest in looking for my son. So I had to go do it myself. I grabbed everything I can, threw it in my vehicle, and started heading out here west. Made it out here on the 26th, almost 3 days later. The Buckeye Police Department did get an alert from my auntie from Philly that they put a Phoenix Firebird helicopter in the air. I was relieved to hearing that. Of course, the story about my son's disappearance continue on from that point. I can say since I've been here on 26, I started my own searches, my own investigation. I spoke to the guy at the well. I spoke to the coworkers. I worked with the Buckeye Police Department to try to find my son. After almost a month later, my son's vehicle showed up on July the 19th. It was found by a rancher who was out there in the desert chasing his cattle, and it was in a ravine, a 20-foot ravine about 3 miles away from that work site where he was last seen. Of course, I was told that the Buckeye Police Department did extensive searchings. They used cadaver dogs, tracking dogs, you name it, had low-flying helicopters, drones, all that stuff, and they have came up with nothing, not a footprint or anything that suggests my son even been there. But other than his clothing on the ground, about 3 feet away from that vehicle, that was my son's clothing from his underwear down to his sock, was on the outside of that vehicle. So just hearing the story what the Buckeye Police Department gave me and their theories that they gave me, I was unsatisfied, to make a long story with that. I'm unsatisfied with the fact that they didn't do any forensics work at the scene. I was unsatisfied with the fact that they also turned in everything that was on that ground, all the evidence that they had or anything they could have had. They turned it over to me in evidence bags marked for safekeeping. With all of that, I hired my own private investigator who did an excellent job he's a reconstructionist, did an excellent job on finding out the answers that I needed to what really happened to that vehicle. That's the only clue that we have, only tangible clue, only hard evidence of clues that we have. After he found those information out, we was talking about how we was going to give it to the Buckeye Police Department. We decided to do so, and once we did that, that department shut down, and the relationship between myself and that department had started falling ever since. So that's where we're at to this day. But I thank you guys for coming in for this Q&A this evening. I just want to get a spiel and rundown of some of the things that, details of how this whole thing started. It's not full details, but it's some some little bit for you guys can go with those who just coming out to this channel. Again, this is a Q&A session of the Please Help Find Daniel Q&A. And, I'm just here to answer your questions. Also I will first of all start off by closing off on the fasting and prayer that we've been doing today. For those who joined in, hashtag fast and prayer for Daniel. If you guys have joined in, I will be doing this prayer to end that this portion of the fasting and prayer. And if you guys want to continue on, you can. If you don't have to. I just want to thank you all for who all joined in and, ask for the same thing we're asking for is answers. And God reveals the truth, bring the truth up to the light so we can all find out what happened to Daniel and also to help those other families who stand in need of help to find their loved ones. So, and also thank you guys for all the prayers and stuff that coming in today of you people, everybody who reached out and wanted to give their condolences to our family. We did have one of my aunts passed away on yesterday, and we're dealing with that as a family. And I want y'all to definitely continue keep this family and my family in prayer because we need it. It's a rough time, especially for my uncle too. And it's a rough time, of course, anytime we lose, anybody is really rough. So thank you so much for your love and your support and all the kind words and things like that. I really appreciate it. I want to say also thank you, Yunu, for being here this evening for the Q&A, being a moderator and always being here to lend a helping hand, even offline. So I'm really grateful for all you do. Thank you, Jazz Radlin, for being here. Oklahoma, thank you for being here for this Q&A. Thank you, Cassidy, for being here. Thank you so much. I really, thank you. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for being here on this Q&A and enjoying being here. I really appreciate having you. Also, Shannon, thank you for being here this evening. Thank you, D-Love, for being here on this Q&A. Thank again, Pamela. Really appreciate that. Hello to you and prayers to you also. Pecan, thank you so being Pecan Pie. Thank you for being here. Yes, well, this is one of the questions there. I want to remind you guys if you do have a question, can you please put the capital letter Q there before you ask a question, or a big question mark, or probably even the word question itself. Large the word question before you ask your question. That'll help me find your questions as I come down the comment section. That'll also help. This help me on that front. I really appreciate it, guys. If you can, I do have one from Pecan Pie. How did it take a whole month to find the Jeep? That's a good question. That was a question that I had myself. When I started my searches, that was based on, of course, I had to go find my son. That desert was holding me back. The fact that the Buckeye Police Department only did one search, they said at the time, that's almost 3 days later after my son went missing. That was their first initial search. I started my search also based on that because when I did my own investigation, I talked to the man at the well site, the worker at the well site, the only person who seen my son that day. I talked to him, and he told me that he was there the whole entire week. I think it was a few days after my son went missing. I was there talking to him on the side of Sun Valley Parkway near that Captain Road area. And we was on the side of the road in there. And he told me he was there every day. Since the time my son went missing, he was there every day, all day. And he heard about the Buckeye Police Department supposed to be doing some type of search coming up. That's what he heard of. I don't know what he said he heard it from. But the fact that he said that he was there at the well site and he haven't even heard a helicopter, he haven't seen any police officer at the well site, which he was standing at, it made me question that the search had actually even happened. Being that I had that question that the search had even happened, that caused me to push even harder to start my own searches. So I was able to start my own searches because, again, they did an extensive search with the Phoenix Firebird helicopter. And they didn't come up with nothing. Like I always like to say, they didn't come up with a construction cone. We all know the construction cones are orange and they're bright colored. You see them on the side of the roads and on the road doing constructions. They have not even found that. And so they didn't find anything. They didn't find my son. I continued my searches on. My searches was based on the surrounding of that well site and areas north and out west, actually, to see if we could find my son, location of my son. But when that vehicle showed up, before that vehicle showed up, the Buckeye Police Department said they did which they did because I was there. I recorded that search. They did a search with the Civil Air Patrol. Civil Air Patrol came out to help conduct the search on the 9th of July. And on that search, they came up empty-handed. I can't tell you on the report. On the report I read, they have they used 2 aircrafts on that day. They did not. I recorded the whole event. They said they did 2 pass-bys. They did not. They only did 1. So I was there to see that the search wasn't that thorough as they put it, how they make it out in their report. Of course, again, they came up empty-handed. They said they did all those areas, which would have recovered the area where my son's vehicle was eventually found. So they say they did that, and they come up with nothing. Now I can tell you, with that Jeep, you do have to ask a question on their website right now. They have a map that they gave me also on the 9th of July 9th. That Silver Air Patrol area that they covered, and that area did cover where eventually vehicles found. Only problem with that map is the map had indication of where the well site was located, where Daniel went missing, and it also had an indication of the vehicle symbol, an indication of where the vehicle was found, even though the vehicle wasn't found for another 10 days. But they got that on their website right now, where they noted that this vehicle is going to be found in that same spot where it hasn't been found yet, mind you. The vehicle wasn't found until July 19th, so you guys can look at that map on their page. I don't know how Buckeye can explain that. They cannot explain it also away, because they had gave me a copy of that map on the 9th of July with that. I didn't realize it until recently that this map that they gave me on the 9th has the marking of that vehicle before it was even found. So they do have to explain that to the public, how they can come up with knowing where the vehicle going to be at before it got there. So they definitely need to do that. But as in how they have not come up with a vehicle, I do not know. I do know that the story is that the rancher who found it on the 19th told us that he found it on the 19th of July, and that he was there 3 days prior, and it wasn't there. So we have to ask all those questions. Those are some of the questions that's out there. So to answer your question, how did it take a whole month? Beyond me with the technology, I'd say that because of in my opinion, the none work that the department was doing. There's just a bunch of words and a bunch of talk and no real action on their part. Mind you, we found a human skull near the area where the vehicle later was found. And we found that in my searches, we conducted all these searches and came up with human remains. The department, Buckeye Police Department, haven't come up with, like I say, anything on any of their searches where we were recovering human remains as civilians, as regular people who come out to search. Out in my searches, we've been finding those things. We still continually finding things, and somehow this department wasn't finding anything. So haven't even found my son. Haven't found which direction he went. If he was out there at that scene, they didn't find any blood in the vehicle. Well, they didn't see any blood in the vehicle with their eyes and things like that. So thank you for your question, Pecan Pie, and I really appreciate you being in here. Also, thank you, Rachel Arnold, for being here this evening on this Q&A. I believe I said it before, but Pamela Dab, thank you again for being here on this Q&A. I really appreciate you coming out on YouTube, on Facebook. Thank you for being here, Angela Reese. Glad that, I really appreciate it. I'm trying to get all the information I can out about this case, so thank you for being here. Thank you, Sophia, for being here, and thank you for helping moderating on the back end and helping with the team. I'm glad you're part of the team. Thank you all for supporting and being here. So thank you, Sophia, and thank you everybody who's coming out. Pamela Debs, again, thank you again. Thank you, D Love, again. Thank you for being here this evening. Also, RQ, thank you for being here this evening, coming out to the Q&A. Thank you, Terry, for being here. 100 Worthiness Officer, apparently. Thank you for being here for this Q&A and being a part. Thank you, Gina, for being here. Thank you for putting the hashtag up there, Fast and Prayer for Daniel. I really appreciate you, everything you do, passing out the flyers and things like that, and being a part of this family. So I really appreciate it. Lola, thank you for being here this evening. Thank you, Kim, for being here. Kimmy K, 100, thank you for being here this evening on the Q&A. If I miss anybody's question, please don't hesitate to ask your question again. If you have any questions, please put the big question mark there, followed by your question. That'll definitely help me find your questions going down the timeline. Thank you, Stevie, for being here this evening. I really appreciate it. Again, thank you, Mar, for being here this evening. She Rose Nation, Thank you for being here again. And I really appreciate the question you asked the other day. That was very helpful. And looking at things a lot different, especially when it came to that other person that showed up and say he was a federal law enforcement agent and all the stuff. The one that Buckeye himself this year told me that they vetted his story and that he was out there and they believe that he did talk to Daniel and things like that. But the question that you asked will make that impossible. That Daniel could give somebody instruction or something he didn't know. So that made a lot of sense, and I really appreciate you when you come out, and that's why I'm glad to have this Q&A for people like yourself to be able to put thoughtful questions there that will help, keep the mind, sharp and things like that, and think about things on different terms. Also, thank you, Vitel, for being here this evening. I don't want to cut it right here also, and I'll keep coming down the timeline. Thank you all for being here. But I want to go ahead and pray. We had the fast and the prayer again. Like I said earlier, thank you, D-Love, for putting that up. We had the fast and the prayer all day today. We started off this morning, this morning's Q&A, and we started off with prayer, and we went on with the fast and prayer, asking God to give the answers to where my son is located, to bring things that was in the dark into the light, that we all would know and have a real indication of what happened. And also, for protection and things like that. I'm really grateful for you guys joining in on prayer and fast for these other families also as well who have missing loved ones and who need those answers also. So thank you for that. Saying this is not just my family thing, it's every family thing that's out there with missing loved ones. It's bigger than me and my family. And we want to make sure that everything I do is reflecting that. So that's the reason why I have a foundation I'm trying to build to be able to help other families also as well. And so thank you so much, you guys, for being part of this team, this family, and being a part of this family and coming out to support. But I want to pray right now. Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, again for this day. We come to you, Lord, with thanksgiving and praise. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this entire day. You say when you create a day, at the end of the day, you say it's good. So all our days are good, despite the things that happen, Lord. We thank you, Lord, for being a part and keeping us a part of your life and keeping us in your heart and keeping us in your mind. And you say no man can pluck us out of your hands. And I thank you, Heavenly Father, for your protection. I ask you, Father, right now, Lord, to bless all of those who join in on this fast and prayer. We all came together, Lord, to ask for one thing. We ask for guidance, Lord. We ask for things to be brought into the light, to find out what happened to my son. I've been here going almost 10 months looking for Daniel. And I know, Lord, you will bring all those things that put me in the right place at the right time to find out the answers that I really need, guidance. So we also stand in the gap for other families who have a need also to find their loved one. They're hurting, Lord. And I ask you, Lord Jesus, comfort their hearts, comfort their minds, and give them some type of closures, and also to be able to find their family member unscathed, Lord. Bring them back. We saw that happen recently. The family had a young man that was missing. After 3 years, he came back. Some years later, came back. They found him at a gas station. So, Lord, it can happen. So I ask you, Heavenly Father, to bless some of these families, bless my family, to bring my son back, or give the answers that we need and things like that. Thank you, Lord, for all those people, like I said, that join in their desires and their prayers and everything they're asking for. And I ask you, Heavenly Father, to bless them accordingly. According to their faith, Lord, you can give it to them, and I really appreciate it for blessing them in their faith. We also did this in faith. We do, you got to have some action behind your faith, and we give this action. It's called fasting and prayer, and we get the action behind our faith, and we look for answers. So I thank you right now. We bless your name, and thank you, God, for all things. Amen. Thank you guys for joining in again with the Q&A. I really appreciate it. It helps a whole lot. Helps a whole lot, saying to get some of these answers. I tell you before you guys join in on Q&A, and I did get some miracles, some things that did happen, that helped on my end here. As soon as I thought things were going to go a bad direction, God came out of nowhere and straightened those things out for me. So thank you. I mean, I just look for more. God don't put more than you can bear. So Daniel, saying it's hard. I'll be honest with you guys, it's very hard every day doing this Q&A to doing just repeating the same thing over and over again, and have to live this thing over and over and over again. It's a cycle, but God allowed me to be strong enough to handle that, allowed my family to be resilient enough to handle that. And when the time comes, that's for all families, the time comes, he'll reveal all the answers that we're asking for. And if he decides not to, the good things came out of this so far. Like I said, it put me in a position where I'm able to hear from other family members who going through the same exact thing. It gave me a desire to try to help those family members. So good things do come out of it. Good things come out of every situation, no matter good or bad. Good things come out of situations, and this was one of the good things that came out. It also brought a bunch of people like yourself together. We're like a family, and that's why I call everybody who's part of this thing, who have their interest, this whole family interest at heart. We're family. You know what I'm saying? We're extended family. You have, you come out and show your love, and you have the compassion. I really appreciate it. Again, thank you, Evie, for being here this evening. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, we definitely asking God for that. Thank you, E. Caroline, for being here. God bless you too. Thank you for being here this evening. Thank you, D Love, for being here. Thank you, for Mara, again, for being here. And I want to thank you, just my soul sister. Thank you so much for being here. You're my best friend. I really appreciate you being here. Also, been knowing you for years. So thank you for being here out from California. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Pecan Pie, again, for being here. Thank you. Let me see who I got here. Trudy. Thank you for being here off of YouTube and coming out to be part of the Q&A. I do have a question from Cassidy. Cassidy, thank you so much for being here, first of all, and giving us your question. With you being a veteran, is the Army able to assist you in any way? I've been to the VA. I did get it, was referred to some of the VFWs, to the American Legions and things like that. So I'm looking into those areas to try to see, get some of the veterans to come out and things like that. As I want to say in the introduction, I'm glad I thought about this on the introduction. I did have it that I would not have a search this weekend. That was the introduction. I didn't really mean to play that one for the search video. That was a search video just to say, hey, look, I have searches and things like that for my son out there in the desert. But I want y'all to be cleared. I'm not having any searches this weekend out there. So that was a mishap on my part, adding that to my playlist to play for the introduction. But I would not have a search this weekend. And right now, also, we having plans to talk about the future plans of the searches going forward and how they will be conducted and when they'll be conducted. So I want y'all, for right now, tentatively, I have the searches set for not this weekend, but the next weekend on the 30th. But, so I want you guys, like I said, to just follow the pleasehelpfinddaniel.com website and to get the updated updates on if like I said, those searches will continue or when they're going to continue and things like that. So please be on the lookout for that. Also, thank you, Lori, for being here. I really appreciate it. And thank you. I don't know if this is a question, but I will read this, and I think it is. It said, have they searched, at least with cameras, all the surrounding mine shells in the area he was working? Well, you know what? I'm looking for all the mine shells. I did found a total of 4 of them so far. 5 of them, because one of them was a vertical. It was a horizontal. One is a horizontal mine shelf, but that one there is so short, and it goes around in like a circular shape on 2 different directions, and it is leading to each other into a dead end. There's nothing in that mine shelf that's near the corral south of where Daniel's vehicle was found, and also is another one there that's south of 2 others that's south of where Daniel's vehicle was found. Those are still in needing to be checked. I'm still waiting on the Bureau of Land Management for authorization or for this company to be able to go in and do that. Look into those mine shells. There are 2 that was found also by some of the volunteers with the drones that's out west from where the well site is, where the well site that Daniel supposedly went missing from, and that's out west, like I said, and Buckeye claimed to have gone to look at one of them, but they didn't make it to the second. And there are also vertical mines out on the eastern side of Sun Valley Parkway I haven't discovered yet, but they're out there. There's quite a few of them out there. So y'all have to understand that Arizona has thousands of mine shells out there. This is a gold rush state. They have people building these mines and things like that to try to find gold and things like that. So some of them been marked and a lot of them are not marked. So you just don't know where they're at until you can find them sometimes. So, you go on the map, for BLM and stuff like that, and they don't have them all marked. So some of the ones I do know of not marked. So those are unmarked mines. So there's a lot of them out there that need to be searched and things like that. So just that's the importance of having like cadaver dogs and things like that to kind of help when you do find these mines if it's something worth going down into looking, because a lot of them are very deep. All right, thank you, RQ, for being here this evening. Thank you also, Lori Hester, for being here this evening. If you guys have questions, please put the word question there first, followed by your question, and also the or a capital letter Q or some question marks. I believe this is a question from Lori Hester. Fate has his employee provided the coordinates to all the well water sites as well. No, they did not. They didn't provide any except for the first well site where my son went to go visit. I did recently last year, the end of part of last year, got a map of that well location, and also I have of course been taken to the two wells that's near the well itself that my son was last seen, and the one north of that. The other ones that was found out there was happened to be found because we're out there doing searches, and so I was able to find those. So I'm sure there's a lot more that just had to be found. So far we didn't find those, but also thank you, baby girl Lad, for being here. I really appreciate you coming in. Thank you, Beverly, Ian Bagby, thank you for being here. Also being part of this Q&A. Also a voice of hope. Thank you for being here. The dogs went around the tree. Yes. Well, there were some dogs. That's a question. But you guys have questions? Yeah, please put the question mark there. Or question, capital letter Q. But yes, we did have different dogs at different times. 3 sets of them alerted on the same tree in that area where Daniel Vick was found. I don't know what Buckeye have done with that. They claiming their cadaver dogs didn't find anything. Didn't alert on anything. Their tracking dogs didn't find anything when out there. But these other dogs, yeah, they alerted on the same tree. We even had a little dog. I forgot what type of dog the lady tell me, but her dog, she's training a little dog to be a sniffing dog, and that little dog actually alerted months after this year, a matter of fact, on the same tree. So something human died at that tree. They pretty much kind of look up in the tree also. So whatever happened there near where my son was missing, there was some human person deceased at those trees, because that's what the cadaver dogs do. They alert on only on deceased human stuff. So that's definitely one indication that something happened at that tree. Don't know what it is. I don't know if it having a relationship with my son. But those are things should have been taken care of. That's also out there. Pecan Pie, thank you so much for being here this evening. Again, thank you, Beverly. Thank you again for being here. And also, see who else I got here. If you guys have questions, please don't mind. If you mind, put that question mark there like RQ did here. That's very helpful. If you guys have a question, please do so. Ask your question. That's what the Q&A is for. I want to be able to answer all the questions that I can. Do you have confirmation from Dane's employer that he was scheduled to visit the well that Ken says he met him at? Wouldn't his employee know there's that well? Yes, and I just talked to them the other day, and they did say that he did go to those 2 wells. He's so assigned to those 2 wells. So yes, the second well also is also with the first well. So that's what the company is saying to me. Yes, both of those wells was on his schedule. What Daniel's supposed to be going to do some work on. So he did the first one, and then he ended up with going missing when he's supposed to be doing the second one. So thank you for that question, and thank you also for being here, a voice of hope, and thank you for your condolences. I really appreciate it. My family is having it hard, going through rough. We all are going through rough. I'm going through it rough for my family's sake. But you know what? You had to be strong. You had to be strong, and I'm here for 2 reasons: for my son. But I thank you guys for your prayer and your love, support for my family. That's going through. Like I said, we had death in the family. For those who don't know, excuse me, death in the family. Auntie of mine passed on yesterday. So thank you. Please keep us in prayer. Tuts up 883. Can y'all give me a second?
All right. Thank you to 883 for being here this evening. I really appreciate it. I'm having a little trouble with my throat, so y'all you can bear in with me. Get some water real quick here. Thank you guys for bearing here with me. Tub 883, thank you for being here this evening on this Q&A. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Stephanie, for being here off of Facebook. And this is a question too, I believe. Is it possible he found something of value? Someone else saw this and did something. Well, I don't know. Only thing I can go by is what was told to me, what happened at the well site by that worker. I can go by the information I got from the Buckeye Police Department. I can go by the testimony of the rancher who found the vehicle. I can go by the physical evidence of things that I've seen. As in for, Daniel's job, he found something of value. Like I said, all kinds of things out there. That people still finding gold out there. So, something of value. I do not know. So those are things that I consider everything. I tell you guys. Despite of what somebody said, and I'm saying this over and over again for a reason. Despite of what anybody say, from past to present, part of my team or anything else, far from my character, I can tell you my character up front. My character is like this. I love my children. I love my family. And I'm going to do everything I can to protect them and provide and all that kind of stuff, right? So I can be somewhat biased. Of course, I'm supposed to be. I have to protect the honor, integrity of my son. I know what type of guy he is. So, of course, I'm going to have all the right thoughts about my child. I'm not going to have any bad thoughts about him. But you know what? At the same time, we think we know everything, and we have to look at different directions. So I'm clear and understanding that I also look at different directions of possibilities of things that I just don't know about as a parent. No matter how much I really think highly of my son, I have to always look at every possibility. So I look at every possibility, every angle there is. That's the only way you can be an investigator. That's the only way you can investigate things is be open-minded. And I'm very much open-minded. I'm even open-minded, again, like I told you guys before, I'm open-minded to stupid stuff that I hear come out of people's mouth. Like, for instance, your son may have joined a monastery, become a monk, just want to be away from his family. I had to hear that, and I had to go look at all the monasteries I could find around the area. It's had one mother something near the area where my son was missing. Now, when I say near, it was like near, really good distance. It's not walking distance at all. But you can get to it by going back south on Sun Valley Parkway to get the I-10, and you had to go like 2 S's away out west out there, and then you come back up north to get near this area to where this monastery is. So just by them saying that, I had to go through the streams of checking the monastery to see if my son been involved with one of those. Find out they was closed for COVID because of COVID was going on at the time and still is going on. People don't believe it or not, but it was closed at the time. And but I'm just saying I had to do my due diligence. That's what a real detective would do, and that's one of the things I had to do, regardless of what I feel and what I think. So despite of what people say out there about me, I talk from my own character, just like I'm talking from my son's character. And I can say, if people say it's biased or not, I'm supposed to be biased for my son. I know who he is. So is it possible something, again, of value? I don't know the answer to that. So thank you for your question, Stephanie. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you, Skilo, for coming out to this Q&A and being a part of this Q&A family. So I really appreciate it. Thank you, Stephanie, again, for your prayers. I really appreciate you. Thank you, Carolyn, for being here for this Q&A. And thank you again. I really appreciate all your hard work and everything you do out there in that desert, helping out. So I'm grateful for you. God bless you. And you are the family, so I really appreciate it, you being here. Thank you also, Beverly Lynn, for being here. Okay, thank you, Gwen. Thank you for everything you do. I love you, and thank you so much for being my best friend and everything to me. So please continue to share Daniel's story. The Robinson family, thank you all for your continued love and support. And thank you so much for putting that up there. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Ralph, for being here this evening. Thank you also for supporting the Q&A in the mornings and also this prime time. I really appreciate you being here I'm grateful for you on that. RQ, thanks for being here this evening. The Voice of Hope, again, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it for you being here this evening. Mr. E, thank you for coming out to the Q&A. Thank you for your prayers. I definitely need it. God bless you for that. Again, you guys can hit that like, share, subscribe button. That's what got me here now. I'm at 1,000 some subscribers. That's really huge. That's really huge, and I'm really grateful you guys doing that. They got this getting this channel out a lot farther than I could have at the beginning. So I really give again. I'll say this often. I really give thanks also to Gisela K from Grizzly True Crime. I talked to her, and she's a great friend of mine. And told her that what I want to do as in terms of get my son's stories out there. She told me everything that I need to know about getting this channel. She helped build this channel to get it up into a point where I can be, where it's usable, where I can use it to get the things out. So I'm really grateful for her getting the whole setup for me and get me going. So, and then you guys coming in to listen. I know some of y'all hear some of the same things over and over again, but you're here to support and ask some of these questions and things like that. So I'm really grateful. And it is being here for those who haven't been to a Q&A, who just learning about my son's case and need some of those answers to some of these questions. So I'm glad you guys decided to share, like, and subscribe to this channel. That helped out a whole lot. Also, don't forget that tip line. You can remain anonymous. I really appreciate it if you guys can also do that if you have any tips and things like that. So also, I have D-Love with a question here. Thank you, D-Love, for your question. Thank you for being here. Mr. Robinson, is it possible Daniel changed clothes out there, seeing he works 2 jobs, and all of those clothes were just thrown about, I guess. Well, you know what? There's no indication that he had changed the clothes, but I can't say he didn't because I don't know what happened. All thing we can go by what we see. One thing that was kind of that stood out to me about his clothing is the fact that his underwear and his sock was down there, and then one of the other socks was found somewhere else in a different location near the well site from that scene. But I tend to think that if a person, first of all, if we go by the theory of the Buckeye Police Department, that felt like he had some kind of severe head injury, brain injury in that accident, but he didn't sustain any injuries, right? He didn't have no blood or nothing going on, sustained that type of injuries. If my son had changed of clothes and that vehicle torn the way it was, everything thrown around in that vehicle, he somehow managed to get his change of clothes and leave his cell phone, leave his laptop, all the kind of things behind, his wallet and everything else. But he decided to change his clothes. But not only did he just change his clothes, he took his underwear and socks off. His underwear and sock off. Like, so, I change clothes a lot. In the daytime, if I had to change clothes, I don't usually take off my underwear and my sock just to put another pair of shorts on. I took my jeans off, say, hey, man, it's kind of hot out here. I want to put some shorts on. So I just take my underwear off too. No, I don't do that. So some of those things stood out to me don't make sense to me, first of all. The other part is, like I said, from his clothing standpoint, if he had changed of clothing, where was his change of clothing? He was able to find his change of clothing coming out of the sunroof, change his clothing, but didn't take his cell phone with him. So that type of stuff. So and his wallet and things like that. So all of that do not indicate on my behalf that he had some change of clothes and decided to change the clothes and leave, or also to leave all the water in the vehicle when it's very hot out there, 120-degree weather out there in the desert, and he decided not to take any water with him also. But he had enough umps in himself with a brain injury to, from what they're saying, take his clothes off neatly, in a sense. It wasn't neatly, of course, his pants pull out and all that kind of stuff, but it was in a pile, a nice pile. You'll think that a person who's anxious or got something going on would be taking their clothes and just slinging it all over the place. Some would have been over here, some would have been over there, different places. So a lot of things I ask questions about why, being from a human standpoint, and try to replay those things over and over again and actually go through a scenario of actually doing it and why, things are the way. So to answer that question, there's no indication that he had any change of clothes. and I can't rule that out either. But it wouldn't make sense to me if he had to change of clothes, him finding the change of clothes and leaving everything else behind, stuff like that, just to change his clothes. And his sock that was found, like I say, weeks later, after the vehicle, everything that seen was collected by the Buckeye Police Department. Sock that matched the sock in the evidence bag was found near the well site. So that type deal. Thank you so much for your question. If you can, you guys, please put the word question there before you ask the question. That helps out. I see this findmegroup.org. Thank you, Stephanie, for putting that up there. I'm not familiar with that. I don't remember. I talked to so many organizations. It could have, probably not. I'm not sure. But thank you so much for putting the information up there. I hope that helps me and anybody else. Also, thank you again, Carolyn, for putting that up. Hashtag Please Help Find Daniel. Thank you for the hashtag. I really appreciate you coming in and helping everywhere you can. Also, Pecan Pie has a question here. Were you able to recover cell phone and cell phone information? Well, you know what? We do have a cell phone because that was left at the scene. But for information, I would not be putting out information that came out the cell phone that we get now from forensics type stuff. But I can tell you that those phones are being taken care of, being looked into. When I say phones, there's also a second phone that was found near the scene where my son's vehicle was found, and that's going to be taken care of also looked into. So yes, a lot of things will be taken care of. His work computer, his personal computer, all those things will be looked into. So thank you for your question. I really appreciate that, and thank you also for putting a big question mark. Because like I said, that helps a whole lot for everybody who, when you guys have a question, I can go down and I can see that. Also, thank you for putting that up there, the Fast and Prayer, the hashtag Fast and Prayer. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Stevie, again, for you say your first Fast and Prayer was this morning during your live. Okay, thank you. So I really appreciate it. If you join in, I'm really grateful for that. I believe in fasting and prayer, and I believe in prayer. Period. Men ought to always pray and not faint. I really appreciate it that you join in and being a part of this, trying answers they were trying to get. Thank you, Beverly Lynn, for being here. I really appreciate it that you came out. Also, again, my name is Dave Robinson, father of geologist Daniel Robinson. I'm here doing a Q&A for my son, Case. My son went missing on June 23rd of last year. While performing his job, supposed to be meeting one other guy from a company called Weber out there in the well site. The whole narrative and the whole story about how my son went missing is based on one man's testimony, one man's story that he gave to the Buckeye Police Department. The story, in my opinion, have not been vetted yet, because as you know, you guys, you saw me when I had went through the whole story scenario of his story. And you can see how those things didn't make sense with the vehicle travel of the vehicle and things like that, going on the left side of the tracks and things like that. So, just wanted to make sure you guys can remember that those things I did put out there already that didn't make sense. A lot of stuff didn't make sense, and you guys saw that about that. The whole storyline didn't make sense to me, and it continued not to make sense to me more and more I look at it. And but at the same time, I'm telling you guys, I'm not calling somebody a liar per se, but I'm just saying, that to me, it just don't make sense. And you guys can see that it don't make sense, it don't add up. And I would think that they would have at this point would have vetted that a lot more. So just want to make sure y'all are aware of that part of it, and also that I'm constantly looking into that over and over again. I'm trying to look right now. I'm pulling up. You guys wondering what I'm looking at right now. I'm trying to think about putting up the well. I meant to do that earlier. I wasn't thinking about it. I don't know where I put my flash drive, but I wanted to put that well back up again that I searched one time before. And I'll show you guys. I might put it up on the next Q&A, or I'll just make a special video for that. But that well site that was north of where Daniel went missing. That's the 2 mile mark for distance. They told me, hey, you go out west 1 mile, then you go up north 2 miles. That would add up 2 miles to where the well site would be. That's what it was told to me by that worker who's with my son. So I would assume believe in that well site more so than I believe the well site that they're claiming. But nevertheless, that's what it gave me, and that's what I had to go by for now. But I can tell you the suspicious nature of things that happened at the second well site, and we're looking into that one also. Also, don't forget, please continue to pray and please continue to share Daniel's story. I really appreciate you guys can do that, because that's very important, getting the story out there. So many people who's out there can hear the story. Don't forget what you see on the bottom of the screen also, that tip line. You guys have any tips or know anything about what happened to my son, please utilize that tip line as a paid for line. You can be anonymous or non-anonymous, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Operators take your call and things like that. But if you don't want to talk to anybody, you can also, as strolling on the bottom there, you can text the word tip to that tip line, and the form will come up. You can still stay anonymous if you like. If you need to just contact me, you can also contact me on the number that's on the bottom of the screen. That's going across there. That number comes to my cell phone, and I will respond. Also, just don't forget about the pleasehelpfinddaniel.com website, pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, where you have all the information on how you can help and upcoming events to everything you need to know about Daniel's case. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Voice of Hope, again for being here on this Q&A. Thank you, Yunu, for putting us information up here. We will find Daniel, and you're right. I believe in, I take it in faith that God would bless that we would find my son. And I'm praying that he's, everything's okay with him, and it will be. So I'm gonna have that faith, and I'm gonna keep that faith up till God say otherwise. Someone please help me feed my kids. Okay, thank you, Clinton, for being here this evening on this Q&A, and I hope the blessings and things that God can provide you for your situation. I see a situation going on there. We did have a prayer earlier for everybody, the situation. If somebody can help, please help. And I really, thank you for coming in on this Q&A, and saying hopefully we can help you. Someone can help you. I'm trying to read it there, but please, by me, you can use that 200 number also. Thank you, Rada Creator, again for being here this evening on this Q&A. God bless you, and I'm really grateful for you. If you guys have any more questions, please put the question there with the question mark, a big capital letter word question there, and that can help me find you as I'm coming down the comment section. I'm going kind of fast, and I do see Matthew. Thank you, Matthew, for being here. I don't know if there's a question in here, and thank you so much for being here and being a part of this Q&A this evening. Thank you also, Gwen, for putting information up. Please continue to share Daniel's story. The Robinson family, thank you, and we really do. I'm really grateful to have a question here for Spivey. Spivey, thank you. With all the dedication, Daniel's case has more attention. It really do. I'm sure LE has new tips. Has local LE reached out to offer you any information or ask if you have any new information? Well, they haven't reached out to give me any information other than I did have something going on with something in the comment section. I did have Detective Biffin reach out to say that they was going to look into some comment that was in a comment section in the past. I'm really not familiar what was going on with his comments and things like that, but it was some things that was really disturbing, and those guys, so we're looking into those things also. But other than that, no, the department don't share anything with me. Like I said, that relationship went sour once my investigator, very capable accident reconstructionist, gave all the information that he had what happened to my son's vehicle. That's his expertise. That's what he does, and he knows his job very well when it comes to that. So to find out what happened to vehicles and things like that, and so that's what he did, and they didn't like what they heard. He was using the crazy part is he was using their data they pulled from the vehicle to get those answers. They just didn't know how to read it, or didn't care to read it, or whatever the case may be. My investigator read it for them, and like I said, they didn't like it. So hopefully they can straighten up. By I don't think I can see from that department to help me out right now as they turn my son's case over to the FBI department. That would help my son's case tremendously. Also, thank you so much, you guys, for being a part of this Q&A. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to put up big question marks there if you have questions when you ask the questions. or the word question. Those type things help me find it when I go down the comment section. All right. Thank you, Mary. I see Mary here. Thank you so much from Michigan for being here. I really appreciate it that you actually coming out to be a part of this Q&A. Cassidy has a question. Did any sniffer dogs use the scent from his clothing to try to search? I do not know. When I say when it comes to Buckeye, I don't know because they the one was at the scene. When a guy reported the vehicle. Only thing I can go by is the pictures that they gave me with everything still on the ground. As in that day, they said they used the cadaver dogs and search dogs and all that. I don't know if they took them clothes, had the dogs snip those clothes before they put them in evidence bags. I do not know. But all I know, they said they came up empty-handed. They have not even a footprint they can follow. The way they explained it to me, they had no reason to believe that Daniel even walked away from that scene. There was no footprint. The dogs didn't track nothing. Nobody leaving the scene of Daniel at all, and that type deal. So that would be their testimony to say that they believe that Daniel wasn't at the scene or he didn't walk away from the scene. If he didn't walk away from the scene, he would have still been there. So that would say that he wasn't there at all. So that's one indication thing I get too. But I don't know if they used the scent of his clothing because them dogs would have had to been, like you said, directed by something. Something of Daniel's. If it was somebody else driving that vehicle, it's almost common sense. Those dogs would not be looking for that person if there was Daniel's clothes that they picked up the scent for and looking for those scent from Daniel based on his clothes. They wouldn't be going at the person who was really there and left the vehicle there. So that would make more sense. Also, I have a question here from D-Love. Did Buckeye Police Department look into Daniel being carjacked as explained why his vehicle was there? They never expressed that to me. I'm looking to that type of possibility. Like I said, in my mind, I'm looking at everything. It's not just one angle. It's many angles. But as in the Buckeye, they never expressed that to me. Only thing they ever expressed to me was that the fact they believed that he had a severe head injury. He went unscathed, and they gave me everything. So that's their theory, and possibly he joined the monastery, become a monk. That's what happened to him. Their indication to me that they believe that Daniel is fine and well out there, and he's coming back to grab his things. That's why they turned over all the evidence they had over to me the next day after the vehicle was found, because they felt that he was coming back for his things. Everything they gave back to me a few days after the vehicle was given to me was in evidence bags, and it was marked for safekeeping. Like I said, meaning that they believe that Daniel was coming back to grab his things. We just go ahead and give it to the families so they can give it to him when he returned. So they didn't have any indication where they feel like it was foul play. They still saying to this day they don't believe it's foul play. And so, carjacking would be in the action of foul play. So they definitely not looking in that direction. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. That helps this algorithm to keep going. I really appreciate you guys if you do that. Brooklyn Michelle, thank you for being here this evening. Thank you for your condolences to my family. I really appreciate you because you've been here for the Q&As to support. And I'm really grateful for everything you do, and also all the things you want to do in the back end. I have a question here from Matthew Decker. I want to make a unisex fragrance for you. If you guys have these, I'm gonna give you yes, I'll give you a number here. It's on the bottom of the screen. You guys have anything you want to send to me directly or contact me directly, you can by using that number there. And so please, if you guys have those, Mr. Matthew, if you have those, please use the number that's scrolling on the bottom of the screen, and I will contact you from there. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming in for this Q&A. Also, Justice for Daniel, change.org. You guys signed a petition. We got 113,000, and thank you for putting that up there earlier. Putting that up there because earlier I wanted to have someone ask about the petition, and somehow I wasn't able to give them the numbers. 113,682 have signed, and those are just people. They're not numbers. They are numbers, but it's people. So thank you so much for putting that up there, because everyone who signed that's your voice. Everybody have an interest in this case. That's your voice. So we ask you please sign that petition. I'm gonna continue having that petition signed until it's ready to be used. People say, when are you gonna use that petition? It's gonna be used when it's ready. When I get all this forensic work done on this vehicle, on his clothing, on his cell phone to get finished, completed. Both of the cell phones to his laptop, his also personal computer, the red transfer panel, all the stuff get put in the packet. That's when the guys, when I can put that petition there, and saying, and you guys also have your voice be heard. Thank you, S Navy Girl 81. Could the black box tell if the car was driven to the ravine and was it towed? I don't know. I don't know at all. I'm not a black box expert. I can go by what my estimate reconstructions told me. But it was 11 additional miles on that vehicle after the initial crash. We do know, it amazes me that we do know, and the information that I got from my estimate reconstruction, but you have someone out there now, kind of going backwards on the information. But the information of that vehicle that was given to me by my accident reconstructionist, my former accident reconstruction, the PI, is that there was 11 additional miles on the vehicle, and also that the vehicle wasn't crashed there. It was crashed somewhere else. So the initial crash from that vehicle was crashed somewhere else, and then it made its way. It could be where it looked, it could be crashed multiple times, but then it made its way down to that ravine. It wasn't crashed there. I mean, of course, it's a crash when it rolled down the hill and hit the bottom of that ravine. It's going to crash, right? But that wasn't the reason why the airbags are deployed, is what you're saying. So that black box data, that's what Buckeye Police Department pulled from that vehicle. When they turned over everything to me, they turned everything over to my investigator because they didn't have a case. They had no leads to follow, and they wasn't investigating. That's why they turned the black box data over to my investigator. But now they're saying they have an investigation. So you can't investigate when you don't have anything to investigate with. And but that's what they're saying. And that's one of the reasons why you guys, if you talk to that department, ask for anything, I'm asking to bring in the FBI into my son's case. And I'm going to stick with that. I don't have any confidence in the department. And I don't really, think they would do very well for my son's case. Mary Von Casper, thank you so much for your great words, and I really appreciate it. And I pray for your family. You say your brother's going through this same thing, and he is completely broken. I can imagine. I know a lot of people don't understand how hard it really is when you have someone who's I'm not sure if you're speaking of the passing of my auntie, or but since you say it's your brother, I believe you're saying a missing person. So either way, but one of the things is having a missing person, not knowing the answer, not knowing what happened to the person is very difficult and very hard. So I can imagine what your brother going through. I can imagine what you're going through, and to have a missing person, and it is heartbreaking and is very difficult. You can imagine what Daniel's mother's going through. She birthed him. You can imagine what his siblings going through. Myself, family, friends. It's very hard. Just keep those families in mind. Keep my family in mind. I really appreciate it, Mary. All right, thank you, Lola, for being here this evening on the Q&A, and thank you guys, everybody, for asking these questions. I really, the questions that you all have, and you coming here and helping out, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much. I'm trying to find if I can find any more questions. You guys have any questions, please put the word question there first, or question mark, or things like that. That'll help me find your question as it come down the comment section, because I'm going kind of fast here. I do see the question marks coming up. I really appreciate it. Pecan Pie was your question. Is there any timeline of events for the day that you have been able to come up with? Yes, I have a lot of timelines. I have a timeline that's going to go go with the conjunction of the Buckeye Police Department police report, or go against it. Either way, but it's going to be a timeline based on my facts and the truth, and I'm still working on that one. But yeah, I do have a timeline of a lot of things that I do know I'm working on. But that's part of the investigation, things I won't be able to share. But yes, I do. Pecan Pie have a lot of those, so I really appreciate it. You guys can please put that question mark there, or use the word question or something to indicate that you have a question. I really appreciate it if you guys can do that, because that really helped me as I'm going down the comment section to locate your questions. Because like I said, I'm blinking kind of fast. I do have one here from Matthew Decker again. Thank you so much for being a part of this Q&A for Facebook. I can promote a shirt. Thank you so much again, Mr. Decker. I really appreciate it if you can use that number. It's a number right there strolling on the bottom of the screen. You can use that number right there. I really appreciate it. Yes, if you can, contact me there if you want have any ideas and things like that you want to share. So thanks so much for being a part of the Q&A. Again, just for Daniel, I really appreciate it. Go change.org. Go to the Please Help Find Daniel website and sign that petition. That would be a tremendous help in the process. I thank you so much for that. Also, I will be going to CrimeCon next weekend. So that's why I'm saying if you guys, we're supposed to be having a search on the 30th. I'm talking to my team. We're going to make some decisions about the search period. And like I said, going forward. But I will be at the CrimeCon event as a speaker. They did want me to come on. I was invited out there to be a speaker to talk about my son's case. And that give me a even bigger opportunity to put Daniel's name out there. And so I ask you guys to pray for me on that. I have never really talking in front of over 5,000 people before in my life. So it's going to be a little different thing to do. But I'm really thankful, and I thank God for the opportunity to be able to talk in front of a bit large event as CrimeCon. And I thank CrimeCon for having me out there, the Oxygen Channel and things like that. So having me out there to do that event. So y'all check into that CrimeCon event. If you want to come, there's things on. I should put that on the website, but you go to crimecon.com and you can get all the information you need about the event. So we'll be out there doing that. So thank you so much for being a part if you can. Also, Mary Vaughn has a question here. Are the police helping at all? Well, they're not necessarily helping me. I don't know what they're doing. And I can't speak for that. I can go by what I know. And when they're not talking to me and telling me anything, only thing I can say is no, they're not helping me. They're not helping me at all. So, not helping me, I'm helping myself. I'm helping my son get some justice, and I'm helping my family find answers to what happened to Daniel. And also, I can't get this department even call my son a possible criminal case. They don't look at anything, despite my son being missing almost 10 months now, despite that his clothing things on the ground, all the stuff that we do know already, despite all of that, they're still digging their heels in to say they believe he's just a missing person, and that is it. They don't have no evidence. And despite the evidence that my investigator gave to them about things that found on the scene, and the damage don't match that terrain, and it was most likely dump. There's a vehicle dump, and they still don't see that as a crime, a possible crime. So if I say if somebody don't want to see something, they ain't gonna want to see it, and they ain't gonna do everything they can to make sure it don't happen that way. That's my opinion, and that's what seemed like what's going on here, digging their heels in. Question, Mr. Robinson, were you able to? Was there any feet or shoe prints near the clothing on the vehicle? According to the Buckeye Police Department, no. And so when they been at his boots and everything on the ground, they didn't see no footprints. They had no boot prints. They had no tire tracks, no nothing. So there was nothing. The dogs couldn't track nothing. There was nothing out there. They could track nothing. But I can't tell you also, they keep saying these cadaver dogs and these search dogs, that's what they say they had. But according to the rancher, like I told you guys, I do my own investigation. I do have recorded statements and things like that. But you know what? The rancher said they didn't have no cadaver dogs out there. He was out there. That's his property. He's out there. People came. The Buckeye Police Department came with one dog, and that dog came roughly around 10 o'clock at night. One dog. I don't know what type of dog it was, because they told him that all the rest of the dogs is some kind of training that week, and they had to borrow that dog. They don't have no dog, and they only had to borrow that dog from another department. And they all had one dog. I don't know what type of dog it was, but whatever it was, they had it out there for almost an hour before they brought it back to their vehicle. Talking about the mountain lion was stalking it, and they put it back up. So it's a lot of discrepancies in this story. And like I said, I'm not a person who take anybody's story and for truth, other than it need to be vetted out. But I'd say if you're going to say, you believe one side of a story from a department looking into one, you got to believe the other side too. If you got a rancher saying the vehicle wasn't there 3 days prior, you need to put that in report. Just as much you would put a woman's story in a report who was able to upload her own information. On the same way you'll take a guy at the well site that last saw my son. The only person at the time that actually saw my son lastly, you take a story for what it is without vetting it really hard. So that type deal. So, if you can do that, you need to do all of it. Get the whole truth and nothing but the truth. You know what I'm saying? So you can come up with an answer. All right. Lori Hester, did a person offer to take a polygraph? I don't know what person you're talking about, but as far as I know, in this case, nobody took a polygraph or was offered a polygraph. So, so maybe they did, or maybe they didn't. I never heard of nobody ever spoke about anybody taking a polygraph or anything of sorts. So, thank you for your question. All right, and also thank you, Don, for being here. I am going to have to close on this Q&A. I'm at 1 hour and 34 minutes, and I will try to stroll down fast as I can right here to see if I can find at least 1 or 2 more questions, and then I'm going to have to call it an evening. I really appreciate you guys again. Thank you, Amy. I see somebody here new. Thank you, Amy and Lewis, for being here. Thank you for your prayers. I really appreciate you being here off of Facebook. But you know what? And thank you all for being here for the Q&A. And like I said, and praying for my family, being a part of the prayer and fasting for Daniel today, for those answers and things like that. So I really appreciate everybody who come along and helping this channel out. You like, share, and subscribing to this channel to build the algorithms up and build this platform up. I really appreciate you guys, everything you do, and being part. Oh, I see my auntie here. Thank you, auntie, for being here this evening. This is my auntie, everybody. I really appreciate you, auntie, for coming in to the Q&A. Really love you. I love you very much, and thanks so much for being here for the Q&A. It's good to know that you're here. Again, thank you guys, if you can, for praying for my family. As you know, like I said earlier, we did have auntie that passed by on yesterday, from yesterday, and we still as a family dealing with that. So just keep us in mind and keep us in the prayer. And my auntie's here also. Thank you, auntie, like I said, for being here. Also, just like I said, just for Daniel, please sign a petition. We're working hard trying to get some justice for my son, to make sure I get all the answers that I can get, and the right people in the right place to fight for my son. This department, in my opinion, hasn't been fighting like I would for my child, and so I need them to move out the way and bring in some of those ones who are willing to do so. Really, 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 if you guys can express that, that'll be helpful, and keep on expressing that, what we want. We want somebody else to come in a different department to take on my son's case. So I'm going out the timeline, comment section really quick here to try to get down here to the bottom. Y'all do have questions, please do that. Have those questions so I can go ahead and, respond to those. Okay, I don't see any more here. I do have one. Okay, Amy. Thank you, Amy Lewis, again, for coming off of Facebook. Have you reached out to any other geologists for other locations of mines and wells to search? Has the co-worker been investigated and cleared? Now, as in for the mines, no, I did not reach out to any geologists. There are some geologists that come out to the searches. There's some of us in the form of my son's co-workers. They used to come out in the early part when I first started my searches last year. They have since dropped off. Only person that come out of that company, I don't know if he's a geologist or not, but my son's direct supervisor, boss, he comes out every so often to the searches. But we do have other geologists that came out to the searches. Sometimes they randomly come, and no, I have not reached out to any of those about mines. I did go to BLM and talk to them about it. Try to find out the location using their map, Bureau of Land Management, to find out, in the locations of the ones they have marked. So I do know other mines that's marked, but they also, like I said, I found 2 that was unmarked out there. So one of the ones the south to where Daniel was found, we thought was wells, but actually turned out to be mines. Also, they're not marked on the BLM map. So that type deal. So we looking for them as I can and try to get see if we can get those cleared and searched. So yes, I'm still looking. And as in for the coworker, if you're speaking of the one that last seen him, the guy that was from the other company, I don't know if he's been investigated, but I know he's been questioned. They've been asking questions. Hey, look, what happened? And they took a statement from him, and that's where our narrative to this date comes down from. His statement about what happened to my son. He weighed off and all that stuff that you guys know, and he just disappeared. Nobody don't just disappear in thin air. So there had to be something more to that. And I really feel that more, like you said, investigation on that part should be done a little farther. If one person is the last person to see it, they need to look a little harder, make sure that person is cleared. I'm not saying he did anything. All I'm saying is the story need to be vetted. It don't make sense to me. All right. Amy Carmichael. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your prayers. And you do have, did you get the phone records? Yes, I had the phone records from day one. Once my son went missing, we was able to get my son's phone records. We was able to provide, let the Buckeye Police Department look at them. We didn't provide them any paperwork. They didn't get a warrant, so they haven't gotten anything from the phone company. But yes, I do have phone records from the day when timeline when my son went missing. So thank you so much for your question, and then also thank you for being here. All right, I have Don. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you coming out to this Q&A. And if you guys, I thank you for just sharing your time here on this Q&A with me. I am coming out to the end. I really tried to find any more questions if you guys had them. Don't forget to sign that petition. I really appreciate you putting that one of the administrators. Thank you so much for putting that out there. You can sign that petition. I really appreciate it. It's very, very important. On pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, you can find out how to do so much more with that. So thank you so much. Of course, like I say, anything, you can go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, and all those information will be there for you there. All right, I think I am at the end. So thank you so much, everybody, for being part of the Q&A. Next time I will have a little more content there to share with you guys. As a lot of things I want to share. We're gonna go back over the tunnel of the mines, search of the mine that I had. We're gonna go back over that, and we're gonna go back over, like I said, the search of the whole rundown of the guy where he told the story that he did at the well site. Next Q&A, I will be doing that again on Monday. I will be showing that video, both of them. I'll probably go through both of them and do some talking to you all about it as I'm going through, like I did before. So thank you so much for being here. God bless you guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for joining again for that fast and prayer for Daniel. I really, really needed that. And I'm really grateful you guys have done that, been a part. It's very important that we stick together and try to get some answers and things like that. So thank you so much for being by my side. And thank you for keeping my family in prayer, for both ends, for my son and also for our loss of my auntie on yesterday. So, just keep us all in prayer. And I'm really grateful for you. And I'm praying for you all too, that God give you the answers and things that you need in your life and all those other families who are going through. God bless you. I love you all. And I'll talk to you soon on Monday.